All right, folks, we're going to try this again. My name is Steve Grumbine. I am the founder of Real Progressives. This is a public service announcement because of circumstances that have blown up outside of my control. I feel that it is important to speak to the audience, to our followers, and to those around so that they understand some very important things. First of all, Real Progressives has been around for about 3 years now. During that 3 years, we have brought modern monetary theory to the public. Many people who had never even heard of modern monetary theory, and many who had no idea that we were off the gold standard as of 1972. Many individuals had no idea how the economy worked or how federal financing worked. Because of this, progressives have found no solutions to presenting a way to achieve a New Deal. Progressives have floundered for the last 40 plus years, fighting, only to keep watching the country drift further and further to the right. As a result of this, Real Progressives came to be to show the progressive movement how, in fact, it could afford a New Deal. We have worked with experts around the world, presenting information that you can't hear any other place. We have worked tirelessly, 24/7, with over 100 volunteers, trying to get the word out. We have been accused of being after the money. We have been accused of being corrupt and bought. We've been accused of a host of other ridiculous things. Sadly, this movement is full of people that are desperately grasping for straws, trying to find anything that they can pull down. Life is hard for many people, and so they find someone that they can hate and they stick with it. Over the course of the 3 years, we have made many enemies, people that didn't like hearing that taxes didn't fund spending. People didn't like the fact that we were telling them that their stronghold of Democrat versus Republican was built on a lie. Much of this was a big fraud. They didn't like the fact that we were exposing the truth, that so many people had bought into conspiracies when the truth, while boring, was much, much easier to understand. Unfortunately, over the course of that time, because of these disagreements, people have come, people have gone, and people have tried to trash and bring Real Progressives down every chance they get. They run our name through the mud. They run my name through the mud. I don't do this for the money. We bring in less. This is no joke. We bring in about $12,000 total a year. For the whole year, $12,000. And that right there barely covers our internet costs, the costs for software, the costs for some minor travel reimbursements for people that go to events and things like that, and just basic expenses as we try to do podcasts, videos, and graphics. Unfortunately, we have been stymied at every step along the way by people who try to say things like they're Soros bought or they're, whatever. Right? I mean, just the stupidest, mindless conspiracies known to mankind. Over 100 volunteers work tirelessly to try to make change happen. And we are met with resistance constantly. That's okay. We're okay with that. But what we're not okay with is when people blatantly lie, when they libel us, when they say things about, oh, they're in it for the money. They're in it for the donor class or whatever. $12,000 a year isn't even minimum wage for one person, much less 100 people. It is important that we understand how sick our movement has become in many ways, as people will conjure up and create narratives because I guess their lives just are not exciting enough. I don't know. But whatever it is, there is a select group of people that every opportunity they get to kick us, they take that shot. People that I've never even talked to, I don't care about. It is very important that you understand we're in this to save lives. We're in this to bring about a new deal. We're in this to help regular people understand complex ideas. We're not academics. We're not the top echelon. We're not the people on TV. We're folks just like you all who have children, who go to work every day and come home every day and take care of our families. We just take our spare time and dedicate it to trying to make Real Progressives something we can be proud of. It's extremely difficult to do something like this with activists who are all ruggedly individualistic and all who rebel against authority. So as you try to build an organization that has some base standards, has some base objectives, has a direction, has some control over the content to ensure we are not misinforming people, to make sure that people, when they come to Real Progressives, can trust the information they're receiving is in fact trustworthy. We work our butts off. Between Facebook choking our reach off, playing games with left-wing groups like ours, and limiting our ability to get our message out, and others who have drank the haterade that don't know any better, that say just stupid things. The whole enchilada makes this extremely difficult to be successful. But we still fight through it because the alternative is to look our kids in the eye and say, we gave up before we got started. I'm here to tell you that not only are we not in it for the money, though we have no apologies for asking for money. In fact, I would ask each and every one of you to consider donating to help us. I'm that confident in the work that we're trying to do. I say this without any shame in my game. We are working. This isn't some charity case, even though we are a Pennsylvania state charity. Our goal is to open up both a 501c3 to handle education and policy, but to also open a 501c4 to handle activism and politics. The combination of the two will allow us to be a full-service shop, to be able to address the concerns that we all share. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't skipped a beat. Every single day during Bernie Sanders' campaign, I was on Real Progressives. When my father passed away on September 15th of 2016, I was sitting there holding his hand, checking in on Real Progressives as he passed away. I feel horrible, but that's how impassioned I am because I believe this is the answer for my children. I really do. And my family supports me, thank God. But there's no money in that. In fact, traveling back and forth to New Jersey to present to the Green Party, that was out of pocket. Traveling back and forth to Washington, D.C. from Pennsylvania for the Convergence Conference, that was out of pocket. Going everywhere. We are on a shoestring budget. We've got folks that are traveling all over the place on their own dime, presenting it to you, the people, trying our best to present relevant, important material that you're not going to find at the other places. Unfortunately, when people come to Real Progressives, they come in excited. Sometimes they even get a little bit of a following of their own. And then they forget that we gave them a platform and they think that they own the place and that they can dictate the terms and they can say how it's going to be. And as a team, we have a program management office that discusses things and votes on things and creates standards, much like any other organization. We are trying our best to do the best we can for you and for our children. Not because we want to be mean, not because we just want to be, working for the donor class, not because of anything else, but simply because we are in this to change the world. Now, when you see people talking poorly about real progressives, and you see them talking poorly about myself, I think it's important that you know this. I wake up early in the morning. I get ready for work, and I take care of my son. We do all his therapy for autism. Then I take him to his daycare, and I go to work. I work a full day. I come home, I pick up my son, I feed him, I bathe him, I do his therapy at night. When his therapy is done, and I put him and my daughter to bed, I then go to meetings for Real Progressives for our team. Or maybe I go live stream. And I have meetings even at 11 o'clock at night up until midnight, 1 a.m. in the morning. And then I do it all over again. I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this to change the world. And it's not a me thing. We have over 100 volunteers. We have over 100 monthly donors. We have people that really want to see this succeed. We are working our butts off. And so when people get a wild hair, get their feelings hurt, and they quit, and they go out there in some public tirade trying to bring the whole ship down. And this has happened over and over and over and over and over again. We continue to grow, but invariably someone gets their feelings hurt. And their version of how to deal with that is to go make a public post. And then what happens? Every troll in America jumps into their thread, saying horrible things. I mean, I've got screenshots of many of these things over the years, and I keep them as motivation to remind me how sick people really are in this world and how important it is to get them free education and mental health care. We are being destroyed by neoliberalism, and it creates all sorts of mental illness and all sorts of chaos in our lives. We can't rest because we have to work constantly. We can't save because every dollar is going to a bill. We can't plan for a future because we can't eat today. This is the makings of a very, very sick society. And you can't expect better to ever come until we radically change the way we view not only society, but economics. The equitable distribution of real resources, not the pieces of paper, not the gold coins, but the actual real resources that those things provide for us. You see all forms of bigotry. You see all forms of xenophobia. You see all forms of hatred for transgender and other people that are outside of the heterosexual community. The full spectrum of people hate each other, are constantly angry at each other, are constantly angry at themselves. Thousands, if not millions of people are shooting each other or killing themselves. Many are dying without health care. Many are dying homeless. Many can't get fresh water. Many are in jail for simple crimes like possession of marijuana. Our environment is destroyed. Fossil fuels have decimated our planet's ability to sustain life. Green energy is there for the taking, but we can't get past the question, how are you going to pay for it? Every debate that you saw during the presidential election and the primaries were riddled with that question, how are you going to pay for it? Repeatedly, people have fallen back on the old lies that we're going to raise taxes to pay for things. And like anyone has seen politics over the years knows that the Grover Norquist pledge is still in existence, and the Republican front will not raise taxes. However, we do know one thing. Whether you like their ideology or not, Republicans are human beings too, and they love their children. And when we can change the narrative from that being of raising taxes to pay for things versus understanding the public money to be able to provide far more than we ever dreamed, even Republicans with common sense will sign on. We are at a crossroads. Do we want to keep acting like crabs in a barrel, pulling each other down? Or do we want to actually be the change we want to see and work together to bring about a new deal? There's no place in this world for ego. There's no place in this world for puffed up machismo and pride. There's no room for selfishness. Our kids are depending on us to make different decisions than our parents did. We have different challenges today than they did. And we're failing right now. We are failing right now. Instead, we've got people using social media to dox people, to expose people, to talk shit, to wreck lives. There's no redeeming quality in that behavior. There's no redemption. There's no salvation. There is no public purpose spending that's coming from that. Kids will be leaving college with mountains of student debt. $1.4 trillion currently in student loan debt. Kids that have never had their first job carrying a mortgage worth of student debt before they ever get job number one. That's unacceptable. We should be making investments in our kids. We should be making investments in our planet and green energy. We should be making investments in our elderly and the people who are least capable of defending themselves, the otherly abled, kids with special needs. We should be investing like crazy. But we're not. Because there are people that claim to be in this movement that do nothing but tear down other people. And it is a damn shame. What is worse is there are many people out there who get joy in hurting people. They get pleasure from being able to pile on a thread and smear someone's character and smear someone's name. They get joy from it. Is that who you are? Are you one of those people? Are you one of those people that takes pride in slandering and libeling people? Are you one of those people that defends people that libel and slander people? Are you a herd animal that follows the flock? Or are you somebody who really wants to change the world? Are you someone who really wants to see progress? Or do you just want to turn life into a James Bond novel? I ask because I can't answer that question anymore. I used to think I knew. I used to think this movement was about change, that it was about advancing that incredible New Deal, that Green New Deal that would save us from destruction. Between folks talking nonstop about Cheeto-Leahy and others trolling people and trying to expose people, I see almost no chance of a progressive agenda ever coming to be as long as that is our MO. Quite frankly, I find it disgusting. I have called people murderers by proxy who vote for policies to reduce the debt and reduce the deficit, for people who are literally cutting federal spending. I've called them murderers by proxy. I'm going to introduce a new one. Murderers by trolling. Trolls suck the energy and life out of movements. Trolls destroy things that are good. Trolls eat away the momentum and the cohesion of movements coming together to make progress. Trolls suck life out of people. And there's absolutely zero redemption for a liar. When people misstate the truth, sometimes you can say maybe they just didn't understand. But when they've been told and then they double down on it, that's not a mistake. That's malicious. And they're sidelining a movement, sidelining people that could otherwise be out there fighting to bring about a new deal. Instead, they're trapped in some bullshit sidelining mission of ego, of drama, of disgusting unworthiness. As real progressives, I hope everybody on my team knows what the mission we're fighting for is and doesn't allow outside people who are not fighting for this to distract us in any way. We have always tried our best. And as we try to get better and we make new rules and we try to make guidelines and style guides and appropriate standard operating procedures that any other organization in the world would do, as we try to get better and improve what we're doing, there are people that are going to resist. And that's a damn shame. The law of thermodynamics talks about how difficult it is to keep particles together, to keep them united, to keep them solidified, because matter wants to expand and just go like this. Our movement was like this. Our movement is now a bunch of scattered particles drifting apart, chasing stupid things and not focused on winning. I hope my team embraces this so that we win. And I hope those of you out there who are part of this choose to be better than the trolls. I hope you choose to add value to your life and to your children's lives and then to everyone else's life by not participating in stupid troll posts that are meant to destroy people, pity parties that are meant to pull people down and hurt other people. There can be no redemption for people that try to hurt people. There's no redeeming quality in that. There's no value in that. To quote this guy Grumbine, it's worthless to try to hurt people. It's worthless to go out of your way to lie and talk about money in an organization when you don't know shit about it. It's disgusting to have an opinion that is uninformed and to spread lies when people are fighting tooth and nail to save lives. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives, and I hope you all understand that we are deadly serious about our mission. We're not in this for the money, though we desperately need money to pro up and add the value to what we're trying to do, to provide excellent services and to be able to grow into the organization that can really, really, really bring about the change we need. Have a good night, everybody. I'm out.